Good evening and welcome to Overtime. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene has said that she is resigning in January. She will be leaving Congress. This is, according to her largely because of her break with Donald Trump. There's already, of course, speculation as to whether this is in regards to the threats. She reported getting a large number of threats for having been for the release of the Epstein files and for having so publicly had a split with Trump. We do know that MAGA, unfortunately, is not only prone towards violence, but has been encouraged by receiving pardons for acts of violence, including against police officers and against the Capitol building itself, and threatening heinous acts on both then Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi and Vice President Mike Pence. She is ostensibly one of the founding members of the MAGA movement and chose very early on to make supporting Donald Trump her sort of the cornerstone of everything she did in Congress. We'll discuss the hows and the whys of her leaving in a minute. This is freshly breaking, so we know very little, but we do know that her last day in office will be January 5th. She has purportedly already decided that and submitted her resignation, so her last day is, as of this moment, January 5th. She announced this on Twitter, and so what we are going to do is read her message on Twitter. I'm always a little conflicted about these things. I imagine there's going to be a whole bunch of... I haven't read it yet. It is 4 pages, double-spaced. So... what we're going to do here, apologize, as I said, this is still very new, and we're getting information in as quickly as we can get it. It is a surprise, and again, she did it on X with both a video and a statement. I'm going to read the statement. I haven't read it yet. I do think it probably merits being read in its entirety. And I think it'll hopefully be a quick go-through. From the desk of Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. I've always represented the common American man and woman as a member of the House of Representatives, which is why I have always been despised in Washington, D.C., and never fit in. Americans are used by the political industrial complex of both political parties, election cycle after election cycle, in order to elect whichever side can convince Americans to hate the other side more. And the results are always the same. No matter which way the political pendulum swings, Republican or Democrat, nothing ever gets better for the common American man or woman. The debt goes higher. Corporate and global interests remain Washington's sweethearts. American jobs continue to be replaced, whether it's by illegal labor or by legal labor, by visas, or just shipped overseas. Small businesses continue to be swallowed by big corporations. America's hard-earned tax dollars always fund foreign wars, foreign aid, and foreign interests. The spending power of the dollar continues to decline. The average American family can no longer survive on a single breadwinner's income, as both parents must work in order to simply survive. And today, many in my children's generation feel hopelessness for their future and do not think they will ever realize the American dream, which breaks my heart. I ran for Congress in 2020 and have fought every single day, believing that Make America Great Again meant America first. I have one of the most conservative voting records in Congress, defending the First Amendment, Second Amendment, unborn babies, because I believe God creates life at conception, strong, safe borders. I have fought against COVID, tyrannical insanity, and mandated mass vaccinations. I have never voted to fund foreign wars. However, with almost At 1 year into our majority, the legislature has mostly sidelined. We endured an 8-week shutdown, wrongly resulting in the House not working for the entire time, and we are entering campaign season, which means all coverage leaves and only safe campaign re-election mode is turned on. During the longest shutdown in our nation's history, I raged against my own speaker and my own party for refusing to proactively work diligently to pass a plan to save American health care and to protect Americans from outrageous, overpriced, and unaffordable health insurance policies. The House should have been in session working every day to fix this disaster, but instead America was force-fed disgusting political drama, once again from both sides of the aisle. My bills, which reflect many of President Trump's executive orders, like calling for a new census counting Americans only to draw new districts, making English the official language of the U.S., making it a felony to medically trans a minor, and other bills like eliminating capital gains taxes on the sale of your home and eliminating H-1B visas, just sitting collecting dust. H-1, okay. That's how it is for most members of Congress's bills. The Speaker never brings them to the floor for a vote. Many common Americans are no longer easily convinced by paid political propaganda spokesmen and consultants on TV and paid shills on social media serving with cult-like conviction to force others to swallow the political party talking points. Because they know how much credit card debt they have. They know how much their own bills have gone up over the past 5 years. They actually do their own grocery shopping and no food costs too much. Their rent has increasingly gone up, and they have been outbid by corporate asset managers too many times when they put an offer in to buy a house. And they have been laid off after being forced to train their visa-holding replacement, the college degree they were... the college degree... Her writing style and grammatical style is an improvement over Trump's, but only marginally. The college degrees they were told to earn only left them in debt with no big six-figure salary. They see more homeless people than ever on their own community streets. They can't afford health insurance or practically any insurance. And they just aren't stupid. These are people I represent and love because that is who all of my family and friends are, common Americans. I have been blessed to represent the 14th District of Georgia for 5 years, which is filled with some of the most wonderful, kind-hearted, God-fearing, patriotic, hard-working people you will ever meet. Good, regular, common Americans. I've worked hard to bring taxpayer dollars back home. Give me 1 second here. All right. We're more than halfway done, but it's a little bit of a slog, and I do apologize. I just feel like it's part of the news, so we're all going to have to strap in. I've worked to bring taxpayer dollars back home to help district needs. I impeached Biden's Secretary of Homeland. I will say this. This was written, obviously, in a hurry. It has some elements of stream of consciousness. Clearly, it's also been thought through, but a number of commas are in the wrong place, and some of it is similar to Trump. But this is exactly, I'm going to quote this completely accurately here. I impeached Biden's Secretary of Homeland after watching my constituents die as he So it's a Secretary of Homeland Security. This was reasonably hastily written, somewhat thought out, but anyways, and led the effort to defund hard left, politically biased NPR, PBS, and the corrupt USAID as the chair of the DOGE subcommittee. I have fought harder than almost any... The other good news about this, I suppose, we're going to talk about how and why, and I feel some empathy for her, and we are going to discuss that. Having said that, the reminder of all the things she's done is helpful in curbing my empathy for her, I will say. So, I have fought harder than almost any other elected Republican to elect Donald Trump, that is true, and Republicans to power, traveling the country for years, spending millions of my own money, missing precious time with family that I can never get back, showing up in places like outside the New York courthouse and in Collect Pond Park against a raging leftist mob as Trump faced Democratic lawfare. Meanwhile, most of the established Republicans who secretly hate him, no shit, and who stabbed him in the back, never defended him against anything, have all been welcomed in after the election. All right, so this is actually exactly what Commander predicted, which is sour grapes over the fact that she didn't get a cabinet position or any real thanks for the work she did, and that is true. I don't mind, but it is factually accurate. And I will never forget the day I had to leave my mother's side as my father had brain surgery to remove a cancerous tumor in order to fly to Washington, D.C. to defend President Trump and vote no against the Democrats' second impeachment in 2021. My poor father and my poor mother, it was way too much. Through it all, I never changed or went back on my campaign promises and only disagreed in a few areas in my stance against H-1Bs, replacing American jobs, AI state moratoriums, debt for life, 50-year mortgage scams, standing strongly against all involved in foreign wars, and demanding the release of the Epstein files. Other than that, my voting record has been solidly with my party and my president. She's right. Loyalty should be a two-way street, and we should be able to vote our consciences and represent our district's interests because our job title's literally representative. Oh, you poor little cherub. No. That's not how it works. It should be. But it's not. And if you didn't know that going in, I'd be really surprised. America first should mean America first, and only America first, with no foreign country ever being attached to America first in our halls of government. Standing up for American women who were raped at 14, trafficked and used by rich, powerful men should not result in me being called a traitor and threatened by the President of the United States, whom I fought for. However, while, yes, hurtful, my heart remains filled with joy, my life is filled with happiness, and my true convictions remain unchanged because my self-worth is not defined by a man, but instead by God, who created everything in existence. You see, I have never valued power, titles, or attention, in spite of all of the wrong assumptions about me. You do not cling to these things because they are meaningless and empty traps that hold too many people in Washington. I believe in term limits. I do not think Congress should be a lifelong career or assisted living facility. All right, hold on a second. My only goal and desire has ever been to hold the Republican Party accountable for the promises it makes to the American people and put America first. And I have fought against Democratic damaging policies like the Green New Deal, wide open, deadly, unsafe border policies, and the trans agenda on children and against women. With that has brought years of nonstop, never-ending personal attacks, death threats, lawfare, ridiculous slander, and lies about me, and that most people could never withstand even for a day. It has been unfair and wrong, not only to me and especially my family, but to my district as well. I have too much self-respect and dignity, too much love for my family, way too much, and I do not want my sweet district to have to endure hurtful and painful primary against me by the president we all fought for, only to fight and win an election while Republicans will likely lose the midterms, and in turn be expected to defend the president against impeachment after he hatefully dumped tens of millions of dollars against me and tried to destroy me. I'll give her this. She knows what's coming. It's also absurd and completely unserious. Did she just accuse anybody of being unserious? This woman who looks through the mail slots of fellow congressmen and says, "Oh, I know you're in there." I refuse to be a battered wife hoping it all goes away and gets better. If I am cast aside by MAGA Inc. and replaced by neocons, big pharma, big technology, military-industrial war complex, foreign leaders, and the elite donor class that can't even relate to real Americans, then many common Americans have been cast aside and replaced as well. Yes, ma'am. That's why it takes serious people from the beginning, not people who learn that they should have been serious the whole time. There is no plan to save the world or insane 4D chess game being played. When the common American people finally realize and understand that the political industrial complex of both parties is ripping this country apart, that not one elected leader like me is able to stop Washington's machine from gradually destroying our country, and instead the reality is that they, common Americans, the people, possess the real power over Washington, then I'll be here by their side to rebuild it. Until then, I'm going back to the people I love, to live life to the fullest as I always have, and look forward to the new path ahead. I will be resigning with my last day in office, January 5th, 2026. Marjorie Taylor Greene. All right. So, I do want to check the live chat, because that was long. Damn, I thought I could talk. I will be honest, I didn't want to read all of that. And I did not want to read all of that because I am really not a fan of hers. Having said that, we are a news organization first, and that's her statement. She's leaving, which I think is a very much a net good. So, and we would have read anyone else's statement, so we read it. And I will be honest, I am glad, because that thought, as I paused, wondering if I was really going to read the whole thing, after I read it, I was like, I'm glad I read that, because I'm not glad for hypocrisy, but, the hypocrisy in that, I would like to keep in mind, she literally talked about shooting representatives before she became one. She talked about shooting them. She posted pictures of her holding a rifle right after the assassination attempt of two, actually really 27, but they got to two of, was it Minnesota's congressional the local House reps. I have no doubt that there's actually a good deal of sincerity in this letter. I have no doubt it's sincere. But it indicates kind of a lack of awareness that has always been Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah, that's right. 2 dead, 2 injured. Let's, now that we've gone through the reading of it, What do we know? Marjorie Taylor Greene has announced she is resigning effective January 5th. Nobody saw this coming. She was rebranding herself very much either center or even a little center left. She hadn't really changed her policies any, but she was on NBC, admitted to having fostered the idea of political violence and having supported that, and now being against it because of all of the hate that she was getting from MAGA. Having seen some of that hate myself, and having paid very careful attention to January 6th, which is the heart of that is the beating heart of MAGA. I am fully aware of what they're capable of. I have no doubt she has suffered significantly. I have no doubt that she has suffered significantly as a result of her choices to be pro-Epstein. But the choice that she actually really made from the beginning was to support people like this. And she got paid very well for supporting the president, not in money, but in currency. Like political capital. She rose to the highest ranks of power in the United States, had the president's ear, had his phone number, and was passing calls back and forth on the Senate floor for him very rapidly. And it was because of a loyalty to an ideology that is inherently violent. Inherently. And she liked that about it. She may now realize that that is not sustainable, and that that is a big part of how and why the complaints throughout this resignation letter. She's right. She's absolutely right. What she hasn't identified is what's part of the problem that causes that. How and why she ever thought Trump would be the answer, I don't know. My suspicion is she never did. My suspicion is she always knew exactly who Trump was. What's happened, and this is my suspicion, it is my personal guess. Please feel free to have any view you want. You've heard the letter. We'll make it available online. It's also available on X. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of punditry about this. She's basically saying politics isn't what she thought it was. I think it's exactly what she thought it was. I just think she basically got outplayed and was no longer useful, especially when a real issue that did matter to her, and what she realized was she wasn't put in place for what matters to her. That was never what she could give MAGA. She's in this situation largely by her own doing. It doesn't make it right. She shouldn't be getting threats. She absolutely should not be getting threats by anybody on any side. But the radical Islam is interesting in that the radical elements, you're free to murder anybody who is not Muslim. And there's a whole bunch of justifications for that, and it gets interesting. But anyone who doesn't have a God, who's an atheist, you're actually required to murder. And then there is the worst of the worst. People who were Muslim and then became an apostate. Organizations that value loyalty, they may hate the other side. They may even try to kill the other side. But there is nothing worse than apostasy. And when Marjorie Taylor Greene fought for the Epstein files, she became a MAGA apostate. Let's see. We have a number of a number of conspiracy theories. I don't know. Thank you for that. So we've got some posts in the Breaking channel, and I am keeping up with them. And we have the entire Dorito posted the entire text in the Breaking channel. Thank you. So we do have a copy of that. Let me read the super chats. We'll do a rundown, and then we'll see where we stand. My suspicion. We'll get to suspicions in a minute. Let me read the live chat real quick, which I think I'd been talking. And by the way, I'd also like to thank, while I've got people here, very much like to thank the shills. I was doing the shills, and when this came up, and they were very good about me just bailing, and then not only me bailing, but they were very good about moving people over here. So thank you to the shills and to okay. Yeah, we'll get that taken care of. Thank you. So we've got Dunk on You, $20. One more seat in Congress. Yes, it's Georgia, if I recall, so it's going to be Republican anyway. But if it's not cray-cray, it'll be an improvement. Trump is the greatest evil this country has ever faced. Virginia 14th, or Georgia 14th? Yeah. Thank you. Dunk on You also gifted 5 memberships. Dunk on You, thank you very much for your continued support. It really does help. So, where do we stand? Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene has said she is resigning effective January 5th. I don't think we're going to get much more anytime soon. I've looked at a couple of the local news stations. I think it was 𝐒𝐚𝐬 posted them in the. Let's see. We've had. Yep. So we've had. I've looked at the local Fox and WSB channel Atlanta. And they've got what we've got, which is that she's posted both a video and a very long letter, 4 pages, explaining that she is resigning, citing essentially that the party isn't what she had hoped it would be, saying that she feels that she was loyal to the party but was betrayed by them, betrayed by Trump, and that she feels that by staying she's just going to draw a lot more aggro on her family, and Georgia in general. So all of which is probably true. And I don't think she's going to speak on it. She's probably going to let this sit. So the question is, why? That's a good question. The simplest answer is that there's probably a good deal of truth to what she's writing here. She feels like the party let her down. Trump is now going after her. My suspicion is one of the biggest things is the damage that this is going to be doing to her family. I do think she takes her children seriously. She clearly used them as an argument for why she was supporting the Obamacare funding to continue, which cost her greatly politically. That was half of the death knell right there in her career, was fighting the siding with the Democrats on the Obamacare subsidies and getting government back to work, which, by the way, I'm really a lot I don't like about her. But having said that, she was right about that. So I think her family is probably under siege. I think she is under siege. And thank you, Titan. I think she's realized that there isn't much she can do. I think she's she glommed onto MAGA for any number of reasons, most of them probably rather cynical. But I think she does have some deeply held, cherished views, and I think ultimately those are not compatible with MAGA, but they're not compatible with the Democrats either. So if she were pre-MAGA, she might work as a, really far-right conservative 20 years ago. But here, she doesn't have quite the loyalty, it looks like, that MAGA needs, and she can't be on the left. So her assessment that she's going to get primaried and badly, and then that Trump is going to get impeached, which he will. If Dems get power back, and they should, she's right about that, then, as Andrew had pointed that out too, she's smarter than she gets credit for, and she probably is deliberately a bit of a ditz to be under, and that's a common practice, by the way. But her assessment of what's going to happen is correct. If it gets that long, Trump may be out beforehand. But at any rate, my suspicion is she's getting some pretty vile threats right now. It's coming from her side. And if there's anything more demoralizing than the people that you've fought for and worked with all turning against you badly and demonizing you, I can't think of it. So I think that's what we see here. Again, my own personal feeling, I have some empathy for her because it's not a position to be in, and because nobody should be subject to the vile hatred that she is being subjected to right now. Having said that, she has also subjected a number of people to that, including Nancy Pelosi and others whom she threatened. It was a while ago, but not that long ago. So, two wrongs don't make a right, and I certainly genuinely wish her the best of luck, but with the caveat, so long as she's not harming other people, which I don't know that she's capable of keeping herself from doing. At any rate, Marjorie Taylor Greene is resigning effective January 5th. That is the good question is there going to be a special election? I assume there probably would be. It depends on the state. A lot of states would have one just to fill the seat until the midterms come along. She's a representative, so she was up for re-election anyway. But they don't like to leave the seat vacant for the whole time, so they may have either a special election. It depends. It varies by state. It may just be that the governor gets to choose. There's some states that do that, and they just put someone in there. Whoever they put in is going to be on the right, but they're ostensibly not going to have the kind of command that she did. I would also like to say this. I think she is misguided at best in a wide variety of areas, but there is no doubt that the Epstein files would be languishing in anonymity, and that the work of the Oversight Committee would be far behind where it is now, were it not for her. Doesn't excuse a damn thing. She's still guilty of a whole bunch of shit, in my view. But, as Mowdy would say, human beings are messy. And there are good things that she did. Not a lot of them. They're pretty easy to find and point out. We shouldn't forget them just because we don't like her. Again, my view. Let me double check. There will be a special election. All right, thank you. Do I think she's being blackmailed? Possibility with threats of violence. I think there is something like that. I doubt blackmail is a possibility, but if I had to ballpark it, I'd say 10%. That we've seen that kind of thing happen. But my suspicion is, she acts a tough person, and I think she probably is pretty tough in many ways. But take a look at the MAGA crowd and realize that this is a woman. They don't respect women in general, It's a woman who has betrayed Trump and done so basically from his right hand. I don't think any one person got together and said, let's threaten her and let's get her to quit. I think she is the subject of more vile hatred than any politician in recent memory. That is my suspicion. All right. Let me check one other thing. We do have the video. What I'd like to do, Titan, if you can drop the video into breaking. I think we're not going to play the video, and the reason we know what, unless there's something salient in that video, everyone can find it for themselves. We aren't this isn't the Marjorie Taylor Greene hour. We read her whole statement, which I think was a honest and fair thing to do. I'm not going to play the video. I don't really want to hear her voice. I will say this too, as well, giving her credit for she's done far more damage than good, and Trump probably couldn't have been elected without her. So I'm not suggesting, I'm just suggesting human beings are complex. Thank you, Titan. Thank you. Okay, yeah, that's from the New York Post. So that's what we will do. I'm going to do one more quick check. The video is just her reading the 4 pages. Okay, that probably would have been better than me reading it. First of all, I have to concentrate really hard. I have to, if you see me, I'm just like, yee. I'm like Kash Patel. I'm just like all of a sudden. And then, and the other thing is she probably knows like where the pauses belong, because Lord knows it's not where she put the commas. I will say, here's the other thing. Okay. So just sort of brief analysis of this. Yeah, you really want to see? I don't think you want to see the video. You can see it. We have it on our Discord. Join. I'm not going to play it. It's also absurd and completely unserious. I refuse to be a battered wife, hoping all goes well, goes away and gets better. That kind of it's not even self-pity. I forget what it is, but it's the and it's not even pearl clutching. It goes well beyond pearl clutching. Self-martyrdom, almost. It is absurd. Politics has always been absurd. And she added to the absurdity. She enjoyed the absurdity. I can't get the video footage of her groping, grabbed the groin and squeezed on a life-size poster or thing of Donald Trump, one of those, him doing this, and people pose for the photo, and she's all molesting it. Listen, I'm sorry. You can't be that unserious yourself, and I'm sure she means it. And this is not a woman, I think, being blackmailed. This is somebody who feels truly victimized by her own group. She is what she has yet to discover, and probably never will, if not because she's stupid, but because most of us don't discover these things. What she has yet to discover is that this is who they are. They victimize people. If you don't believe me, ask Mike Pence. That's what they do. You're either with us or we destroy you. Ask Comey. Ask. I could go forever. The list of people to ask. So, I welcome to the party that you were the queen of for quite some time. It's not a fun party. And you're absolutely right about Big Pharma, Big Tech, the military war complex. Who did you put into power? Just asking for a friend. What did you think he was going to do? Have you seen the gold-laden rooms? He's real estate. He's a money guy. What did you think he was going to do? This strikes me as someone who genuinely feels betrayed, but also realizes she has lost. She has absolutely lost, which suggests to me, again, some level of intelligence greater than I had thought her capable of. She sees what's going to happen. She knows the Dems are almost certainly going to win. She said it in the letter, and then she'd end up having to defend Trump against the Dems in order to be loyal, and she doesn't want to defend Trump after what he's done to her, which I don't blame her. Trump's done nothing to me, and I don't want to defend him. So and then if I am cast aside by MAGA and replaced by neocons, big fight. Yeah, it's. I don't think she's being blackmailed. I do think she's being threatened. I don't think it's anyone. I don't think it's possible. It's very possible. I'd say up to 40%. Again, throwing numbers out, that Trump said, get rid of her to somebody, and they started trying to apply pressure, but it ended up happening so quickly. My suspicion is it's organic. They might have done it eventually anyway. There may be in the works, like somebody's hatching a plot. We got to get rid of Marjorie Taylor. Oh, she's gone. You just have to, again, she's a woman in a position of power. That's already kind of iffy with MAGA. And she betrayed Trump. You don't get to do that under any set of circumstances, especially if you're female. So right now, my guess is, again, she's probably got it worse than almost any politician in recent American history. More hate than Nixon, easily. So that's it. Is there anything else I have missed? I just want to make sure that we're good on everything. I'm going to double check the numbers. So for those of you just joining us, Marjorie Taylor Greene has announced that she is going to resign as of January 5th. We really know very little. She has posted a 4-page letter and a video of her reading that letter. The letter and the video is available on our Discord. Other than that, nobody knows anything. We've gone through a number of local channels. We've gone through the national networks. I'm still getting breaking every now and then, like The Hill just popped up on my phone and said, okay, but they don't know anything. My guess is she's not going to speak on it for a little while. As it gets closer, she may. She was very recently trying to, she had gone on to CNN and did an interview where she did a mea culpa and kind of what's been called a redemption arc. You don't do that if you don't think there's at least a chance you can make it. But I think she took a look at the math and said MAGA will never permit her to continue, and there isn't enough room for her on the left. There is no room for her on the left. And it's got nothing to do with, got nothing to do with her rhetoric of violence and other things. But the reality is she's a conservative and a pretty, she's pro-life. She's got one or two things where she really does align with the left, and kudos. But she is not a Democrat. Probably unelectable as an independent, and MAGA would primary her anyway, and Trump, just for the sake of doing it, and I'd like to end on that note. This letter has a little less dignity and self-respect than similar letters from Liz Cheney and other members of the January 6th committee, but all of them wrote similar letters because Donald Trump took all of them out. The difference is that Marjorie Taylor Greene enjoyed those letters and thought that those people should be treated the way they were by Trump and by MAGA and have their lives threatened and have the lives of their children threatened. She was for it. She said the January 6th was a witch hunt. Well, There were witches. So, you know, and I think a lot of senators and representatives who were fighting for all the things she just talked about were absolutely destroyed by somebody with either with her assistance or that she had helped get into office. Food for thought. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to send you over to Renegade 𝐍𝐤𝐜𝐴. So, he is a newer streamer, but I have to admit I like the guy. So let me make sure that this is going to send you guys all over there. I don't think there's anything else that we need to cover. Again, for those of you just joining us, Marjorie Taylor Greene is resigning from Congress, and that also means that, just FYI, basically her opinion on just about anything as of this coming Monday is going to be worthless. She's going to be replaced by a special election. That means she's going to lose all power to do anything. So any damage that she could do, she could still do positive things with people who will let her, and that would be the Oversight Committee. So anywhere in which she could contribute with that, hopefully she'll do before she goes. She's right. Also, too, that next starting January, her career would have been over anyway, because it's going to be all campaigning. Nothing gets done in January, and nobody does anything risky in January. So that's it. There was some. It was an interesting mix of self-delusion and genuine insight in that letter. Marjorie Taylor Greene resigning as of January 5th. We're sending you all to Renegade 𝐍𝐤𝐴𝐿. Please do say hi to him for me. Thank you all for joining us. Our next scheduled show is on Tuesday with 𝐒𝐨𝐮𝐭𝐭𝐞𝐫, and we look forward to seeing you then. And if there's anything else that's breaking, we will let you know. Have a good night.